Hi there, this is the rhythm part of lesson 3 and I'm calling it rhythm and rhyme, and you'll see why later. In this lesson we are going to take our songwriting skills another step further. But before we do, let's remind ourselves how important rhythm is. Remember, in lessons 1 and 2 we showed how rhythm was essential when more than one person is involved in a performance for keeping us together. And then in lesson 2 we took that a step further, literally, by showing you what I called rhythm walking, and how rhythm walking is a very natural way for us to start developing our rhythmic discipline, our rhythmic sense. And then we had a bit of fun finding words using our senses that we will begin putting together into a story and then into a song. I'd like us to go back to the subject of rhythm walking. Think of the heartbeat. What keeps life moving forward? Just feel your pulse. That's what keeps you alive. And rhythmic events are what keeps music alive, and singing. It keeps moving forward. And one of the examples we used in the last lesson was rhythm walking. Left, right, left, right, left, right. It is so important to have a framework so that we feel comfortable. And the best example, as I said, was rhythm walking, left, right, left, right. And in a military context, or a scout context if you like, left, right, that gives us our reference. We know that we're in step when left, right, when somebody calls left, we actually are putting down our left foot. Now this also gives us the possibility of going out of step, and in ordinary everyday life we don't walk necessarily in a military fashion. So we'll go out of step deliberately to be different, and we'll be doing that, and that is so important in music and singing. But the first basic principle is to have a rhythmic framework as a reference. Let's feel that rhythmic framework again. Let's do some rhythm walking if you like, and you don't have to be standing up to do this. Left, right, just think left, right, left, right, left, right. Now I'd like you eventually to stop saying left, right. Just put your feet down and move. You can stand up and walk around the room. Let me put on a set of rhythmic events on my piano here. Let's just listen to them for a minute. Well, maybe not a minute. You can move your body. Remember I said in the last lesson, use your body to feel what's going on. You could even clap your hands. Listen to this. Let me turn it up a bit. Now I'm going to switch it off. Strange, isn't it? You still hear it, you can still feel it. It's kind of in you now. I hope you can. Let me switch it on again. Now I'm going to switch it off. Keep going in your mind. And then I'll switch it on again. See if when I switch it on again, you're still in time, as we say. Were you still on the beat? So, what am I trying to demonstrate by this exercise? I'm trying to demonstrate that by having a series of rhythmic events, it helps us to move forward, to lock in, to have a rhythmic framework, as I call it, in which to feel comfortable. And we can all, if we're in a group, evolve together. Now, the second thing that I hope you will notice is that you will gradually begin to give more emphasis to one of those sounds over the others. The piano itself gives no more emphasis to one sound over another. They all have exactly the same amount of energy. But we are human beings, and so we will gradually give more emphasis to one sound for various reasons. In this particular situation, I've asked you to think of rhythm walking. So you'll be using your feet perhaps, or parts of your body, to lock on to that rhythmic framework. And you'll find yourself, probably because you have one side of your body stronger than the other, find yourself locking in, more emphasis on the left foot maybe, or more emphasis on the right foot. That's a human thing. The other thing I'd like you to notice is that what we do gradually is that around that emphasized beat, you will gradually group the sounds together. So group them into smaller numbers. So instead of an endless series of sounds with emphasizing one sound over the other, you'll gradually find yourself having smaller groups of sounds. So you find yourself perhaps saying left, 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 or right, 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 right. And there you're grouping your sounds into two, which is probably a natural consequence of my imposing rhythm walking on you. But you may start hearing familiar songs, and life itself imposes a rhythm on us, and you may find that it's a very subconscious thing, that your grouping is very subconscious. It could be grouped into 5. Now rhythm walking imposes a 2 grouping on us, what we call binary, and there's no reason, because you're a human being, you may feel your sounds being grouped into 5. So something like 1, 1, 1. And you notice that instead of it, with rhythm walking, always falling on the same side of the body, left, left, okay, or right, right. You have a rocking motion going on with a group of 5. If you find a happy birthday going around in your head, you'll find yourself moving from one side to the other. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And there you are you're grouping your sounds into 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Okay? And that is imposed by the author of the song. We'll be doing that ourselves. Setting up a grouping, imposing a rhythmic framework on the listeners. If you suddenly find yourself singing Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, and so on, then you have a binary grouping. You're grouping them into 4 and putting an emphasis on the first beat in each group of 4, and so on. And there are, according to the circumstances, other groupings that we can have, and we will definitely be coming to that. So after all that talk about rhythmic events and putting more emphasis on one sound than another and grouping the sounds into smaller numbers, remember I encouraged you to get hold of a metronome, something that would beat out the time for us. And here's the one I use. If you have a smartphone, for instance, you can get an application on the smartphone, I think, that will provide a metronome for you. Here's the one, a pocket metronome that I use. So let's hear the series of events, rhythmic events. Here the metronome gives no emphasis to any sound over another. Obviously, if we listen to it long enough, we as humans will start imposing a grouping on those sounds, according to our mood, according to anything going around in our head, a song or a piece of music. Now let's listen to the metronome grouping the sounds. Let's take 4 to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's try now. Let's try 3. Grouping in 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we talked about 5 as well, didn't we? So let's hear the 5 grouping. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so on. A very useful little tool, and it will become obvious later when we start putting our story, our words that we're going to build a song with, onto the musical system, because we will be using those strong stresses to place our words. And remember, in the last lesson we talked about using the rhythmic events to put our words onto the musical system, put the smallest, using the smallest parts of the words, syllables, and hanging them on a rhythmic event. And remember that here we were listening to beats, but we talked about subdividing the beats and making smaller rhythmic events and using those to put our words on, to increase the tempo, to increase the dynamic of our song. And we'll be coming to that, and we'll be doing that in this lesson.